everyone, welcome to Things Lucy Reads. I'm Luce and this is my February wrap-up. No, it's my March wrap-up. The first book I read was Unspoken by Sarah Rees Brennan, which I borrowed from my library. I read it because Ashley Metzger, who is a booktuber that I really love, really likes that series, like it's her favourite series, and she just made it sound so fun and so fantastic that I wanted to pick it up. And then Sarah Rees Brennan has like a story that you can read online called The Turn of the Story, and I read some of that and it was just hysterical, so that made me really excited to read it as well. And I wasn't that impressed with Unspoken, unfortunately. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Okay, so the premise is there's this girl called Cami and a guy called Jared. His name's Jared. They can like read each other's minds, sort of like they have a telepathic link that's been there ever since they were born, and they can talk to each other. And everyone around them just thinks they're imaginary friends. And then Cami lives in this village in England, and there is this mysterious big house, and the family that lives there is shrouded in mystery and no one will tell her anything about them. And then it turns out that the guy that she can hear in her head is part of the family that lives in that house. So they meet and it's weird for everyone. Sarah Rees Brennan is really good at writing characters. I loved almost everyone. They were dynamic and they had flaws and they were like real people. And I also loved that the protagonist, Cami, is part Japanese, so that was pretty cool. And on the edition that I had, it actually had a picture of a part Japanese girl, which was excellent. On all of the others, it's not clear, that it's just like a silhouette of a girl, so you can't really tell. And then it didn't happen in this book, but 2 of the side characters I'm pretty sure are going to be a same-sex couple in the next books, so I'm kind of really excited for that. But just the good things were overweighed by the bad things. Jared was angry with Cami all the time, but then he'd be like really angry with her, and then on the next page they'd be laughing and joking and spending time together, and so it was a little bit of a whiplash with his moods. And I guess that was supposed to be understandable because there was all this kind of shit going on with his family, but I couldn't really keep up, and I didn't like that he was so unpredictable, and I thought that Cami was such a great heroine that she deserved a better love interest than Jared, who was just so hot and cold for the whole book. And the other thing is that it's supposed to be set in England, but I kept thinking that it was set in like a New England state of America, because it didn't feel like England. The dialogue was slightly off. Like, I grew up in Australia. We obviously are a part of the Commonwealth. The Queen of England is our head of state. So all of our TV shows and almost all of the media that I'm exposed to that isn't from Australia or New Zealand is from England. We will get everything from England before we get anything from America, just about. So I know how English people speak. I know what they're supposed to sound like. I know what words and phrases they use. And when I was reading this book, I did not believe that it was set in England. I kept forgetting that it was supposed to be until they would say England or London, and I was like, oh, right. And I've read other books like Mrs. Queen Takes the Train, written by American authors, set in England about English people, and it's just so believable. Like with Mrs. Queen, I forgot that the author was not English because he could just do it so well, and Sarah Rees Brennan didn't quite pull that off, I don't think. And the only thing that I can use as concrete evidence is that the characters kept saying college when they meant university. In England and everywhere else in the world, we call it university, we don't call it college. College in England is grade 11 and 12. And so when they were saying, oh, I only date college guys, or my dad was in college but he had to leave to come home to get married, it didn't really work because college is something different to what was meant by those words. And it kept throwing me off. And I think the book would have been slightly better if it hadn't been set in England, and I don't really understand why it had to be. The thing that I didn't like about the book is that it was very slow. It was so slow, and I think that she meant it to be very suspenseful, but it also wasn't really very suspenseful. It was just slow, and it took me ages to read it just because it took ages for anything to really happen. the ending is really what ruined it for me, because I won't spoil it, but just after everything that happened and everything about Cami and Jared that had happened in their lives and with each other and the way their lives were so entwined, I couldn't believe that that was the way it ended and that was how it was. I thought that was so unbelievable, because that you can't just go through a life like that with another person, entwined so intimately, like telepathic connection in your head. I mean, come on, it can't end the way it did. And like, I read the last line, closed the book, and was like, what the fuck? I will read the other two, but I'm so glad that I borrowed this from the library and didn't buy it, because it just fell a bit flat for me. And there were just too many little things that bugged me about it. I wanted to like this book because everyone makes it sound so cool, but I just really wasn't blown away by it. The next book I read is The Red King by Victor Kelleher, which I read because my work friend Adam told me I should, and I hated this book. If you follow me on Twitter, you would have seen me whinge about it all the time. I gave it 2 stars. I will leave a link to my Goodreads review that says all that you need to know about this book. I don't even want to think about it ever again. And then the next book I read is The Infinite by Laurie M. Lee, which I was approved for on NetGalley. I'm so excited. I did a Goodreads review for that, and I will link that down below as well. And I gave that one 4 out of 5 stars, and it was excellent. I read Unravel Me and Unite Me, both by Tahereh Mafi. I love Tahereh Mafi. I haven't read Unite Me yet, but I'm thinking that this is going to be one of my favorite series of all time. Her writing style is phenomenal, and I love it so much. I gave both of these 4 out of 5 stars. I'm hoping that I can give Unite Me a 5. I really loved both of these books. The funny thing about Unite Me is that everyone that reads it, like when you read Shatter Me, you start out liking Adam and you hate Warner for good reason. And then you read Unite Me and you read Unravel Me and you start to like Warner and dislike Adam. And I read Shatter Me and I was like, there is no way that I'm going to be one of those people. And then I ended up being one of those people. Warner's novella, it didn't make me like him, but it made me feel sorry for him, which I did not like. I did not want to feel sorry for him, but I did, and that was a thing. And then Adam annoys the fuck out of me in Unravel Me and his novella. Like, seriously, I just want to punch him. Juliet is a person, not an object. And I just... Yeah, so that was a thing that happened. And I just want to say, you're going to go into this thinking, you know, I'm not going to be one of those people, even though everyone said, and Lucy said, that you're going to like Warner and you're not going to like Adam. I'm not going to be one of those people. I'm telling you now, you're going to be one of those people. There's no escaping it. You can't get away. It's going to happen and you have no choice. And then the next book I read is an audiobook, and it's You Have to Fucking Eat by Adam Mansbach, which in the Australian version is read by Dave Hughes, who is a really well-known comedian here. And it's so funny. It's a sequel to Go the Fuck to Sleep. And they're children's books written for adults about just the really annoying things that kids do or don't do that that no one talks about as a parent. I don't have children, but I can imagine that it would be really relatable, and I loved every second. It's on Audible. There's a different version for each country, I think, read by a really well-known person from there. It's well worth making an Audible account just to listen to it, because it's so funny, and I gave that one 5 out of 5 stars. And the next book that I read is Hold Me Closer by David Levithan, which is the text of the show that they put on in Will Grayson, Will Grayson. This is like a companion novel to that. I absolutely loved this book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was so funny. And it was the bit in between the songs where we find out more about Tiny and about his life. And it was so full of heart, and I really loved it. It was so funny, and I really wish that this would be made into a movie, because it's just so great. There's so many like pop culture references as well, like to other musicals, and like in the songs and stuff. At one point he says he loves to stare at Kate Blanchett, and I was just like, me too, Tiny, me too. And it was really, really great, and I read it when I really needed to be cheered up, and it definitely cheered me up, and I flew through it really quickly, and I just loved every single page. It was amazing. Yeah, like I said, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I just really, really love this book. I already want to read it again, and it was everything that I wanted it to be. And yeah, it was just so fun and funny and heartfelt and heartwarming, and yeah, it was excellent. Yeah. Okay, so those are all the books that I read this month. And yeah, that's the end of this wrap up. So I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone.